Here we are, door 23. Almost here. I'm hoping everybody's all set and ready for this horrible storm everybody's going to get. All right, 23. 23 is over here. It is some stamps and some dies. Let's see. All right, so the stamps are 2 candy canes in a small bow. Looks like about half the size as the other one. And, I see. The candy canes go in opposite directions, so there's one for each direction. And then a die for the bow. All right, well, this is cute. Let's see what we're going to make with this one. All right, here we are, door 23. We only have one more left tomorrow. And today we had these really nice candy canes and a bow. I like these because you have a mirror image. So that lets you do a lot of different things. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make a gatefold card. But inside the gatefold is going to have the second piece, which we're going to score here, and I'll go over that in a minute, that when you open it up, this becomes a shadow box, which is really nice because it still folds completely flat. But yet when you open it up, you have that real nice shadow box. So we're going to cut an aperture in this, and then we're going to use a bunch of these. So I did some homework ahead of time because I wasn't sure how many we were going to use. So I ended up using, for the candy canes, I had 6 of each. So 6 facing left, 6 facing right, and 3 bows. So I will still cut out one more set of these here, but I do have some ready to go. So the first thing I want to do is get the 2 pieces of paper scored. So I'm going to move this over to here, bring in my scoreboard. All right, so the first piece is for your basic gatefold. So we have 7 inches long by 10 to make a 5 by 7 gatefold. And we're going to score at 2.5 and at 7.5. And when you fold that over, you have your basic gatefold. So I'll put this to the side. Now this paper is also 7 inches long, and it is only 8 inches wide. And this one is going to be scored at 1/2 inch, at 2, at 6, and at 7.5. Now we're going to fold all of this. And when I make these, I like to fold everything in both directions to get it all nice and loose. So it opens and closes really easily. All right, I think we're good. So that's all the scoring we have to do for that. So now I'll show you what this is going to look like without cutting the aperture. So we're going to line up these 2 ends here, and we will glue them. Then we're going to line up these 2 sides and glue them. So then when the card opens, we're only going to glue these small tabs here on the end. So the card sits like this, but when you close it, it still closes flat. But then when you open it, the shadow box pops out of the middle. So the first thing we need to do is figure out where we're going to cut this aperture. So I went ahead and cut the matte layer for these panels. So this is 4 inches across. So I cut the matte layer 6 3/4 by 3 3/4 for the middle here. I then cut the white one 6 1/2 by 3 1/2 to fit in the middle here. So now I'm going to use the inverted stitch scallop circles to cut the aperture. I'm going to use the middle one because the big one was just too big. So this is the biggest one that I can use. Now something to remember about these is that these are 2 pieces. This piece doesn't have an outside cutting on this. It just puts the stitching in there. The cutting surface is on the inside. So we're going to get this lined up. Well, first let's tape these down. Let me grab the dottie. And I'm going to put these on the top. So I'm just going to put a little strip of dottie here. I'm going to line this up, not pressing down where I put the dottie tape until I'm sure I have it where I want it. All right, that looks straight. So now I'll go in the same spot, put a little bit of dottie, and then I will line this one up where I want it. That looks good. Now we will figure out where we want to put this. So when I use both dies here, that's what the frame is going to look like. So I'm going to put this on here for now so I can see where that's all going to sit. And then I'll pull the plain circle off before I die cut it. So down here, I'm going to put a message. So since this was 3 1/2, for this one, I went 3 by 2 1/2 to get this to fit on here. So I had to find, so then this was 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. So then I had to find a message that would fit in there. And so, wishing you a wonderful Christmas fit. And this was from the Christmas verses. So that's what this is all going to look like when we're all done. All right, so that's good. So I think I can move that down a little bit. That's there. Because we kind of want the same amount of space from here and here. So that looks good. So let me grab some tape. So this is now going to come off. Make sure, oops, you know what? Would help if I flipped it upside down. All right, that looks good. So we'll take this part off for now. We will tape this part, and I'm going to tape it in 2 spots just to make sure it doesn't move. We'll move this, and this I'm going to send through my machine. All right, now I did send it through the machine twice since I was cutting through 3 layers of cardstock here. I did have to send it through twice. All right, so we'll take that out. We're done. Let's see, nope, we still need this piece. Leave that here. Take the tape off. All right. So now I was thinking this looked kind of flat, so I wanted to emboss this. So I decided to use this embossing folder from Gina K. It's called Petite Flourish, and it has a really nice detail in it. Gina K just started making her embossing folders. They're made by the same company who makes the Gemini ones, because for years she has recommended the Gemini as an electronic machine. So when she started making her embossing folders, she wanted to make sure they fit through the Gemini. But this is the kind of embossing you get. You get a really nice, deep embossing. And I didn't add any extra shims or anything. I just ran it through. And this I even ran through the MIDI. And yeah, so yeah, she makes really nice embossing folders. So what we're going to do is we will just take this. We'll put the green one on first. We just need to make sure that where we put it, let's see, I guess at this point it doesn't matter. We need to make sure that we don't put the paper past where the design ends, or else we'll end up with a really funky line. All right, I'm going to send this through. All right. Yeah, I just think that adds a little bit there. Now I'm going to send the white one through. All right, we'll need that again later, so I'll leave that there. All right, so now we have this, and we have this. That's all set. So now we need to cut the frame so I can put it over the top. I decided to do it in red. So I'm going to dump off all my little extra pieces I cut there earlier. Because I did cut out some of the die cuts earlier and colored them in. Because I knew I was going to use a bunch of them. So we're going to get this in the center. And I'm going to run this through the machine. All right. So now we have our frame. All right, so all this is ready to stack up. Now we also have the panels for the front of the card and for these panels here and a thin panel for here. For the front of this card, I was going to put a green panel down, which I already embossed, a white panel on top, and then we're going to put some of these on here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this front. All right, so since this is a 5 by 7, each one of these sides is 2.5 inches. So I cut the green to 2 1/4 by 6 3/4, and then the inside was, so that brings the inside down to 6.5 by 2. All right, so there's our panels for the front. All right, we'll give that a moment to dry. Now we'll bring in our inside. So in here, our middle section is all done. Just have to glue that together. So I've cut all the pieces. So the piece here on the end is strictly 6 3/4 by 1/4. So this is a tiny little strip. I just think it kind of finishes the card off if you put the little strip on there. So then this panel here, which is still 6 3/4, this is 1 1/4 inches. That will fit in here. So then the two white ones, we're going down the 6.5 again. And then these are 1 inch. All right, so once again, the green is 1/4 inch wide by 6 3/4. So this one is, I have to grab my, so this one is 1 1/4 by the 6 3/4. So that makes the white paper we're going to use 1 inch by 6.5. And this is so skinny, I'm not going to bother putting the white layer on here. That would be such a teeny tiny little strip. All right, now I have not embossed these yet, so I'm going to go ahead and emboss these. Let me move this up a little bit. And I am going to emboss these little green ones too. But because these are so thin, you can line all these up. Load them all in there. Close that. And just emboss them all at the same time. All right. Oh, look at that. I really do like her embossing folders. All right, so now we just have the 2 strips left. We can do these at the same time. Close that up, run this through. All right. So as we go through here, I'll give you the measurements one more time. Let me get the fine tip bottle. All right, so this one is 6 3/4 by 1/4. And this is going to go on this skinny strip here on the end. All right, and I'm just going to work my way across to make sure I can get everybody lined up. So here again, this one is 6 3/4 long, and this one is the 1 1/4. Yeah, 1 1/4. I'm going to turn this sideways. It's just easier for me to line it up. Line it up with that one. Close that. All right, so now we're to the middle panel. All right. So the frame is going on the white. And this is the one that we cut from the middle set of dies in that nesting die set, the stitched, inverted stitch scallop circles. We'll line up the scallops. There we go. All right. Now the white panel goes on the green. Okay, and this white one was 6.5 by 3.5. The green one was 6 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we will just line up the scallops. All right, so that's there. So now this will get glued onto here. You know, sometimes when you're doing a panel like that, it's best to fold your paper back so you can make sure you've got it in the center. There we go. All right, so now we're back to our 1 1/4 by 6 3/4 and our 1 by 6 1/2. All right. I'll use my fine tip glue bottle for this one. And again, this is the 6 3/4 because all the green are 6 3/4. And this one's only 1/4 of an inch wide. So now, this end is going to get glued to here, and this end is going to get glued to here, which will then help this to pop out for here. So what we have to do is decide what we want to put in the middle and where exactly we want to put it. So this is going to be the center, like this. So this is how much space we have here. So I was thinking something along the lines, maybe crossing the candy canes with the bow in between here. That's what I was thinking. And I was thinking this I would put up on foam. So I'm going to glue these pieces together. Let me slide this up. And then I will attach the foam. So I only need a little bit of glue here. Decide what kind of angle I want these on. Make sure those are straight. And I'm going to color more of these bows, so you'll see what I did. You know what? I think I'm going to put the bow on a piece of foam also. All right, so I think for the bow, I only want this up a little bit higher than the candy cane, so I'm going to use my 1/16 tape. That will go in the middle. Yeah. And then these guys, I'm going to put on the wider tape. I mean the thicker tape, because this is an 1/8 of an inch wide. Now let's see, is it going to be wide enough? I think I can put it there. Move this bow a little bit. Let's see. I think it needs to be down just a tad. I'm going to use some glue on it now that I pulled it off. Okay, that's going to be our centerpiece. So now we have to decide, we just want to put it in against the red, or do we want to put it in against white? So there's the red, and that would look like, that's what it would look like if we put it against the white. Or we could put it in on the green. I think I like the green. Yep, I'm going to put it on green. Yeah. So this panel here is 5 inches across, because this is our standard 5x7 gatefold card. So I'm going to cut this to like, I don't know, 4 3/4, and put it here, because this, well, maybe that's not big enough. All right, so I'm going to cut a panel that is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 to put in the center here. I need to refill my glue bottle here. All right, so this piece is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. All right. We're going to take this panel here, and we're going to put some glue on here. This is going to get lined up with the edge of the card here, and it's the same length, so it's just going to be flush. Then we're going to go to the other side. Same thing. Some glue. Down that 1/2 inch panel on the side. I mean the last section there, that's a 1/2 inch. This will be glued flush with this side. All right. So this is the basic card. So it folds flat for a 5x7 gatefold. Then when you open it up, you have a shadow box in here. All right, so now all we need to do is to put this piece in the middle where we want it. Let's see. Make sure we're straight here. I'm going to pull this closer to me so I can see. Actually, I think I may put it upside down to get it closer to me. All right. This is why before I was holding the panel up against it. Would have been easier to do if I did that first before I glued it down. But there you go. Sometimes you do things out of order. All right. So now for the front. So now we open it up. We have that in there. Okay, so what I was thinking for the front is I'm going to put candy cane, bow, candy cane, and another bow over here. All right, so to do this, I'm going to need to cut out a few more pieces. All right, we're bringing a white piece of paper. This is way bigger than we need, but it'll be fine. All right, so we're going to put candy cane, bow, and we're going to stamp these out. All right, now I'm going to move this paper up. And I'm going to make a second set. All right, and these stamp really nice. I like the way these stamp. And you'll see in the candy cane, there's like little ridges here for like shading, but I'm not going to shade them because they're so tiny. So we'll put this to the side. All right, so I'm going to use DR1. And the reason why I'm choosing this color is it's the only red I have in an Illustrator. And the Illustrator nib is smaller than in the Classiques or the Tri-Blends. Those two are the same size. And with this tiny little piece here, I wanted a smaller nib. And I'm not even going to bother putting a piece of paper underneath. I'm just going to do a really quick coloring here. Right, now for the bows, I am going to use this water-based gold. And because this ink is good for water-based products and alcohol, I can use the same ink. And this is why I like it so much. I can just keep going. You only need one ink and you don't have to worry about it. And this is just plain paper. This is Nina paper. It's a lightweight Nina. All right, now those are all colored. Now I just need to line them up and cut them out. And these line up pretty easily. Yeah, they're the cutting edge is right in the middle. So it lines up pretty easily. All right, now we'll line up the second set. All right, so now we have 3 bows and we have a whole bunch of candy canes. we have this one here, then here, and here. I think I do want to put them on the 1/16 tape, foam tape. So I'm going to cut a skinny little strip here. Yeah, I think I like it better popped up. Yep. Oh, and actually, let's see. We like them better facing in or out. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to do it that way. Top two facing in and the bottom two facing out. Yep, I think I like that better. All right. And we open it up. I'm just going to flip it flat on this side so we can do this side. So I was thinking for in here, I was thinking 3. And I think on the inside I may just glue them flat. Let's see, do we want them angling in? Or do we want to do them opposite? I think I like it better opposite. All right, so let's bring in paper I cut, and this was the one that I cut 2 3/4 by 2 1/4. And I'm putting "Wishing You a Wonderful Christmas" on here. There we go. set. All right, so this is 1/4 inch bigger. So this one is 3 by 2.5. And then we have to decide. All right, so this is here. Do we want this plain, like the wreath? Yeah, I think so. Originally, I thought I was going to emboss it, but I think I'm going to leave it plain. Because the frame here, not the wreath, but the frame is plain. So I think we'll leave this plain too. I'll put my hand inside, get that all lined up. Okay, well now I want to show you something. I think you've seen me do it before. I'm going to take my clear sparkle pen, which is water-based, and this was all alcohol-based. And because of the Gina K ink I used, I can do this, and it won't smear. No smearing. All right. So I'm going to hold this up here so you can see. Let's see. If I tilt it just right, I think you can see the sparkle in there. Yeah, so that's why I really like that ink. It works for everything. I think I'm going to leave it just the way this is. I don't even think I'm going to put a greeting on the front. I think I'm going to leave it just the way it is. Because it almost looks like you're opening doors. And then that's on the inside. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. So here we go. Door number 23 in the books. Tomorrow, the last day. I think we kind of all know what it is because it was kind of given away when it was on TV. So we will see what tomorrow brings. Till then, stay crafty.